Hey, a shout out to everybody this morning. Gosh, it's good to see all of you in your different locations. And here we are all as one because we have people with brilliant minds who have been able to come up with this stuff one link at a time, one thought at a time, one idea at a time. It's wonderful. And a special shout out to Dave Rosenmarkle. My gosh, I haven't seen you in so long. You look great. So we're all doing okay where we are right now in this space and time. I want to talk today about winning and losing. I want to talk about what that actually means and what it creates for each and every one of us when we follow that system. What it means is there is always an other. We are always separated from one another. There is a winner and a loser. There has been some attempts to change that for children by making every child a winner in a tournament or something like that, or a baseball tournament. And that's really not really hitting on the mark. I think it's commendable that somebody would say, my child is just as good as your child, and at some level, let's don't single out winners and losers. That's really cool, but it misses the point. There's something deeper lying behind that we have to look at. That being said, let's look at what that actually means when we set up the world in a sense of competition. There is good competition and there is bad competition. There is positive competition and there is negative competition. It is okay in some respects to compete because that brings out the best in a particular athlete and a particular person in a spelling bee or whatever it might be when you set up a competition like that. But it also sets up, just by the very nature of itself, an idea that somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. I've been in that situation, as many of you have as well. The greatest and the most traumatic of all those things that I can think of as a child was dodgeball. Oh my gosh, standing against a brick wall and having some kid who is a head taller than you hurling this ball at your head. And if you don't miss, or if he decides to throw it where he thinks you're going to be, and there you are, wow. It's not only the smack and the pain of the dodgeball on your face, it's the brick wall on the back of your head. All of that is just so painful. And it's really a wake up call to the fact that you don't like dodgeball. You don't like any part of it. And that happens in a lot of cases in life. Life can have within it its own set of dodgeball game, its own way of making one person the brunt of it all and the other person the top of it all. We carry some of these games, a game that was invented for children to play, a game called baseball. We have that game, and now it has progressed to the point that adult players, are making millions and millions of dollars to play this game. The same thing goes for basketball. The same thing goes for any team sport that you can think of. Now, having said all that, I grew up, as all of you did, in this American system, in this American economy, where competition was very, very important, and it was at the top of the list. As the saying goes, and a lot of times it's not how you play the game, it's whether or not you win the game. That's taken from the point of view of somebody who is involved in something that I have heard called, and I like this term, Darwinian economics. Darwinian economics. That is that the survival goes to the fittest. And in this case, it might be true. In some cases, it might not. I remember in presidential debate, there is one of the candidates sitting there saying that, yes, he worked for a company called the Bain Company. What did the Bain Company do? Well, the Bain Company bought up struggling companies, and then it began to dismantle them, get rid of all the employees, strip all the worth that was in the company, and then sell it or junk it. Now, that is Darwinian capitalism at its best. We don't want to see that in our lives. We see it happening all around us. And is there any way to stop it? Well, I think there is. And I'm going to be talking about that. First, I want to tell you a story that happened to me in my real life. I'm looking back now, it happened over 50 years ago. And that's almost 60 years ago now. And it was this: I was in college and I pledged a certain fraternity. I wanted to be a part of this group. They seemed to be having a lot of fun and a lot of carousing going on and a lot of laughing. So I wanted to be a part of all that. So one night, all the pledge class that I was in, about 20 of us, small school, about 20 of us, were taken down to the entering sidewalk, nice, beautiful brick sidewalk of our college in a little town in Oklahoma. It was called Central State College. So I went there. It's now University of Central Oklahoma, but that's how things change. At the end of this sidewalk, about a half a block away, was a large building built from sandstone, which is a lot of buildings in Oklahoma are built from this red sandstone. And it was a big, tall building with a tower with a bell in it and a clock in it that had been there since 1889 when it was established. And it was called Old North Tower. Well, sitting in front of Old North Tower, between us and Old North Tower, was a fountain, a round fountain built with the same type of material, this sandstone, where you could sit on the edge of it, and it was round. And in the middle of it was this iconic shape that went up, and water came out the top and spilled down the sides into a little pond at the bottom. It's very nice. We all enjoyed seeing this pool here. The person, that was part of the fraternity, he was already a member, a brother, as they called him back then. The brother in the fraternity gathered all of us together, and he said, "Okay, here is what we're going to have you do tonight. I want you all to go down, run around the fountain, and come back here. I want all of you to go down there and all of you to come back. You can go now." And so we started off. And suddenly, as boys would have it, young men, still boys, we turned it into a competition. Who can run the fastest? Who can go around the fountain? Who can be back, the first one back? And we're all just speeding our way down there. Then, as we reached the end, one of our members, who had suffered polio at a very young age, his name was Charlie, and everything that Charlie lacked in physical prowess, because he had a brace on his leg, he made up for with one of the nicest, sort of sweet but wry smiles and a dry sense of humor that just drew you in and made you really love the guy, Charlie. We all just cared so much about him. But we didn't care so much about him when we were having this competition. We're all standing there kind of giggling and everything, out of breath, staring at this guy saying, "Well, we did it." And he's saying, "Look behind you." Just turning around and coming back our way, we hear the squeaking of his brace. We see him struggling as he's trying to make it, but he's still got that smile on his face. He's still a part of everything, even though he's far behind us. He says, "You guys, you failed." We were thinking, why did we fail? We did what was asked of us. Charlie shows up finally, and he says, "What I told you was all of you run down there and go around that fountain. All of you return here." You didn't do that. You left Charlie behind in your zeal to create a competition out of this. We learned a big lesson. He said, "Do it again." At this time, we did it at Charlie's pace. Charlie was still smiling. Charlie wasn't humiliated or embarrassed. He just joined right in and made us feel completely inclusive. He drew us into his life as opposed to us trying to force ourselves to accept him in our lives. What a lesson we all learned that night. What a lesson. It was wonderful. It was a lesson that here, all these 50, almost 60 years ago, I still carry with me. I learned this that night, and I still think about it when I see people in competition with one another. People who are striving for a job or a position in life, and they feel like they have to beat everyone else out to get there. People who are still on the playground playing dodgeball, wanting to slam some kid up against a wall. All of that, this desire to win at all costs. What I learned is this. There is a statement that says a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And I say, that is Darwinian. That whole idea of the survival of the fittest, the weakest link will destroy your chain. Well, I say get rid of your chain to begin with. It's not a chain. It's a group of threads, human threads, all put together and wound tightly to become a rope or a coil or however you want to describe it, a cable that is strong because every sinew of that cable matters. Every bit of it is important. Nothing is left behind. No one is left behind. Now, when we see these professional teams out on the field or on the court or whatever it might be, we must remember this. A lot of coaches teach this to certain hot dog players. There is no I in the word team. It's all of us together. All of us. There is no team that has only a quarterback on the field. He has people guarding him, blocking him. And though we don't hear the announcers make a big point of this oftentimes, they are just as important as the man throwing the ball down the field, as the man catching the ball on the other end, or the person running with the ball. The person running with the ball can get nowhere really fast unless he has blockers who can open a pathway for his legs to run through. That's how we really need to think of life. For me, competition in the sense of, the best one wins is really a myth. It's not anything that has to do with the loving teachings of the Christ. The Christ would tell us that each person is important. Each one of us is important. We must realize this. We must gather ourselves together in consciousness and in heart and realize that we are the sinew. We are every thread, every wire, everything in this rope of humanity. And we should take care of all. That's what is demanded of us by the Christ, and that's what is demanded of us of our own life. To be the best you can be one who is a part of it all, be one who sees everything as an important part. God bless you. Have a great rest of your Sunday day.